Hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panwo TV on VidMe. Well, we had a general election. I didn't stay up and watch it. It all went on last night. I woke up this morning. I picked up the news when I woke up. I found out what happened. And it's a hung parliament. Now, Oscar Wilde once said that confidence is good, but overconfidence can sink your ship. Well, the Tories' ship has been holed below the waterline multiple times and it is heading for the bottom. What Theresa May has done is totally scuppered her party with her incredible hubris, if that's what it was, and I'll come to that later. She called a snap general election in April, and just 6 weeks' notice. And at the time, it must have felt like a formality because she believed the polls. The polls were giving her a 23% lead on Labour. A 23-point lead on Labour. Now, after 2015, in the general election, the Conservatives had 330 seats, Labour had 232, and the forecast was for the Tories to increase their majority enormously. In fact, they were looking at over 400 seats, which would be a 50% majority over Labour. The Tories haven't seen that since Thatcher in the 80s. But it turned out to be a catastrophic misjudgment, if that's what it was, and it wasn't deliberate. I'll come to that in a minute. So Theresa May is not going to be the new Margaret Thatcher, and if that's what she was dreaming, of, then her dreams are in tatters. The final results are so bad that it would almost be better if Labour had simply just won and got a majority in the House. It really would. It would have been more. It perhaps would have been slightly less of a Pyrrhic victory that she has in terms of being the biggest party in Parliament. It reminds me of all that crap that the Democrats and the SJWs were going on about. Trump lost the popular vote. It's all bollocks. It's all just sour grapes. Her false sense of security or corruption has destroyed her party. Ironically, the only thing that cushioned the blow was the Scottish National Party, because they completely crashed out in Scotland. Now, in 2015, they achieved a massive majority. In fact, they took all but 2 seats in the Westminster Parliament in Scotland. Scotland has its own parliament, which is a different matter. We're talking about the Westminster Parliament, the UK Parliament. The SNP took all but 2 seats, so they basically had a monopoly in Scotland in the Westminster Parliament. Well, they lost. I think they lost 9 seats or something to the Tories, to Labour, not to the Lib Dems, I don't think. It's mostly the Tories and Labour gained over the SNP's defeat in Scotland. Labour are the big winners of last night's election, no doubt about it. I mean, they've exceeded all expectations. Jeremy Corbyn is just on a roll now. He's delighted. And it's funny, really, because Jeremy Corbyn has been he got a whopping 29 seats. He's been the butt of so many tabloid jokes. Oh, he fell asleep on the train. Oh, he didn't bow his head enough at the remembrance service. Things like that. And there's been all kinds of memes saying what an idiot he is. He's this old fool. Well, I mean, really, the only foolish thing Corbyn has ever done is when he shagged Diane Abbott, which was about 40 years ago. So you can't blame him for that. Well, I'd have credited him with better taste, quite frankly. But he who laughs last laughs loudest, and that's definitely the case with Corbyn. He's rubbing their nose in it. I mean, they'll blame it on populism. They'll blame it on Russian hackers. You name it. They'll anything other than the fact that the media completely screwed up. Now, not much has changed in Wales. Now, Wales is, for you Americans, right, Wales is a country. It's not part of England, it's a country. It's a country that I come from. Plaid Cymru, which is the Welsh Nationalist Party, they've gained. They've taken Ceredigion, which is the place where I come from the Liberal Democrats. The thing about Plaid Cymru is I'm against Plaid Cymru because I used to be a Welsh nationalist actually when I was a teenager, but I'm not anymore. They're federalists. Plaid Cymru. What they want to do is they want to get Wales out of the UK and straight into the European Union as a member state in in one go. They both at one stage. They want a one-stage exit from the UK and entry into the EU. So that is ridiculous. I mean, they fought for Welsh independence. Well, to drag Wales, to suck Wales into the EU is the opposite of independence. So we leave the UK, go into the EU. The phrase frying pan and fire comes to mind. Yeah, well, as for, so Wales, not much has changed. Now the Liberal Democrats, now this is the thing, the Liberal Democrats have paid the traitor's wage, which they've done twice now. They did it in 2010 when they joined this crooked coalition. They became the junior partner in this mafia clan with David Cameron. And as a result, they lost everything. They completely bombed out in the 2015 election. And the members deserted them like rats. The rats remained. The good people got out of the Lib Dems. Now, the thing is, like, the Conservatives technically could hold on to government if they form a coalition with the Lib Dems. Because the Lib Dems gained 4 seats. The only reason the Lib Dems gained anything was because they appealed to the Ramona vote, which means they're offering a second referendum on the EU on the Brexit deal, whether we stay in the single market or not. And they know that 4 million Ramonas signed this petition for the government to ignore the referendum result because they didn't get the result they wanted, so they think it shouldn't count. I've done a whole video about that. And so the Lib Dems have put that in their manifesto, hoping, they're such fucking opportunists, bastards, hoping that they'll just get the Ramona vote from that. The Ramonas will vote for Lib Dems, and it's gained them 4 seats. Hopefully people saw through them, their lies. No, they should be they should be put in the tower as far as I'm concerned. They're traitors. So the idea of them getting into a coalition with the Tories now is ridiculous. Not only because it was a disaster for them the first time, but also because they now have 12 seats as opposed to the Conservatives' 260, I believe, 260 something, 269, which means that basically it wouldn't be a coalition because they'd have no authority at all. It would be basically what would be their influence would be non-existent. It wouldn't be an alliance. If you have 12 seats and you form an alliance with a party with over 300, you're not forming an alliance. You're basically just propping up their vote, their vote and theirs alone. Where's the moral and practical imperative for that? Hey, Lib Dems, helping the Tories out of a hole that they dug for themselves. Now, that's the good news, because what I was worried about beforehand was that the Lib Dems and Tories might manage to get some sort of coalition together, which would mean there'd be some concession over a second referendum on the EU. That's not going to happen now. Even if there's, against all odds, the Conservatives get into some sort of coalition with the Lib Dems, they will be able to dictate the terms completely. It wouldn't be what Nick Clegg called our chance at government. It would just be that. They'd be propping up the Tories. They'd be a dampener to the melee that followed. It follows when you have a hung up parliament. Plugging the holes in the Tories' shattered dike with their little yellow fingers. Nick Clegg, incidentally, lost his seat. He was lost his seat. Well done, whoever voted against Nick Clegg. Now, hung parliament, it means hung parliament in terminology, if you're not familiar with British politics. It means when an election result results in no overall majority for the party. It is very rare, but it's getting more common. Now, since 1900, there have been 3 hung parliaments, but they've all taken place since 1974. Now, the first hung parliament was in 1974. It limped on for 9 months, but then there was this deadlock couldn't go on, and the deadlock we've got now is not going to go on either. It was broken by a new general election, and when that happened, Labour won, and Harold Wilson became Prime Minister. This is probably what's going to happen now, and there's going to be another general election before the new year, unfortunately. So if you're tired of all the campaigning and the party political broadcasts on TV and the canvassers knocking on your door, sorry, but it's going to go on. Nothing can save Labour, can save us from this really, except a coalition. But it's not possible. As I said, Conservative Lib Dem coalition is highly unlikely. On the other side, Labour would have to schmooze basically all the parties in Parliament into joining them. This would include the Ulster Unionists, that's the Democratic Unionist Party, which is the radical Ulster Unionists. Sinn Féin. Sinn Féin apparently don't take their seats in Westminster. I didn't know that, but someone's informed me that's the case. So there's no way those people are going to get involved with Labour. And Lib Dems, again, they're probably less likely to join Labour than they are the Tories. So we've got a minority government at the moment. There could be a minority government formed, but these can never last. There will be another general election. The big question is, I wrote an article about this on Hapanwo Voice. I'll put a link in the description box. But what does this mean for Brexit? Because this is going to put a big spanner in the works with Article 50. In fact, the European Commission has already announced that they're considering a delay in the Article 50 negotiations with Britain. So this could end up with what's called a soft Brexit, where we remain within the common market but are nominally independent. This is the state that Norway is in right now. It is a fallback position, it is a compromise, and it's a dangerous compromise, because it could set wheels in motion that could suck us back in altogether. I like my Brexit rock hard. That's my Brexit. Harder the better. Now the question is, can Theresa May remain Prime Minister? Well, that's not really a question, is it? The question is, can she remain alive, or will her party members kill her? She better keep her bodyguards close. Jeremy Corbyn is now going to keep on marching. This has been the best night of his life. He's going to keep on marching into the second general election. He may end up with a majority and form a Labour government. There's an energy to him that I don't see in the others. I mean, he did a hustings in Wales yesterday. He ran onto the stage. This is a man in his early 70s. He ran onto the stage. This hustings apparently was the biggest hustings ever since Winston Churchill in the 1950s. And the enemies within his party are never going to justify a third attempt to unseat him. He slaughtered Theresa May in the debates, but there weren't many of those because she didn't show up for most of them. So he's carving up right now. General election 2017 part 2 is coming, and he is going to go for what? He's going to go for number 10. The Tories are going to have to regroup and repair very well indeed to stop him. And like, Theresa May has not said anything yet. At the time I'm filming this, and she's going to make an announcement this morning, but her office has stated she has no plans to resign. But how realistic is that? Then again, I've been discussing this with people on social media, the words that launch 1,000 debates, and one of them said something that was very interesting. Maybe this is all a big scam. Did she throw the election? Because her campaign was pathetic. Is this some scam to scupper Brexit? And a hung parliament is going to affect that. And maybe this is how they're going to do it. Maybe through some way that I've not thought of yet. Because I can't think of any way this could be done, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I don't know everything. Could it mean that there's going to be some kind of something will emerge out of this chaos, out of this pandemonium, that will lead to Brexit being cancelled or Article 50 being revoked. That's my fear. Someone on Facebook says that might well happen. Nigel Farage has been on TV, UKIP, saying something similar. UKIP has completely bombed out, unfortunately. They've lost their only MP. They're now out. It's very low on the political scene, but that could change. I hope it does. Nigel Farage, he can't... Nigel, you can't retire till the job's done. It's too early to tell. Next thing is Theresa May's speech, where she's going to say she's going to tell people she's not going to resign, which is completely and utterly pie in the sky. But apparently that's what she's going to say. I haven't seen it yet, and by the time you watch this, probably that speech might well have happened. Anyway, there'll be more updates, no doubt. I'm keeping an eye on this, as I always do. Thanks to everyone who subscribed to me and everything on VidMe, and thank you to... Sorry there's not been a video for a while. And thank you to everyone who's watched. This has been me, Ben Emlyn-Jones, on Panmo TV on VidMe. Thanks for watching. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order.